When the high school fall sports season kicks off about a month from now, 4 schools will be joining the Northern Indiana Conference. Over the next 4 weeks, we'll be taking a closer look at each one of them and their transition to the NIC. WSBT 22's Carl Deffenbaugh begins our coverage tonight in Bremen.
Starting with David and Goliath, some of the most compelling stories in history have featured undersized, undermanned competitors taking on giants.
And those can be very rewarding experiences, especially when you beat one of those schools.
It's not on those biblical levels, but that's a bit of what the Bremen Lions will face this year. They're first in the Northern Indiana Conference.
You get to test yourself against the best athletes, the best teams in the area.
Perhaps the biggest challenge for Bremen in its first year in the new league comes from just that, size. The Lions go from a middle-of-the-pack program enrollment-wise in the Northern State to the smallest school in their new conference.
We just want to compete and show that we hopefully belong in this new conference.
The size difference would be especially felt on the gridiron, if not for the league splitting into 2 divisions for large and smaller schools.
There was no way in the world we were going to play Penn and Mishawaka in football. I mean, at some point in time, you have to understand that's just not feasible.
That was a game breaker for us. If they didn't go divisions based on size of school, it probably would not have been a good fit for us at all.
As athletic director at Bremen for the past decade, Troy Holmes watched his program routinely take home the all-sports trophy in the Northern State.
Our girls have won it the last 4 years. Wow. Our guys the last couple years.
But the size gap will change the way Bremen evaluates success, especially come playoff time. If the stiff competition better prepares the Lions to face fellow Class 2A schools across all sports.
When you come into the state tourney series, you really do have some big bangers, and so I know that we're going to see that.
We're not intimidated by the size of the teams that we play, so when we get back to 2A in the sectionals, we're prepared both physically and mentally.
Carl Deffenbaugh, WSBT 22 Sports.
Well, the Bremen Lion football team is out on the practice field tonight as they prepare for their first year in the NIC. Bremen has won a sectional title 4 out of the last 5 years in Class 2A, but will now be the smallest school in their new conference.
We don't want to come in soft. We want to come in knowing that we can compete with just about anybody out there.
I definitely think that they're overlooking us, and we're just a little Bremen, but, I mean, that's what everybody thinks, and I'm ready to turn some heads.
Being in the NIC is definitely going to present a challenge to us, and we're going to have to play extremely well to compete in that conference, but we think it's going to help prepare us for the tournament at the end of the year, and that's probably the most important part of the run, is being ready when we get to week 10.
Switching now to high school football, as we continue our previews of area high school football teams, it's Bremen. The Lions finished last year with a record of 7-6, making it to the regionals before being bounced by Rensselaer Central. This season, Bremen heads to the NIC, where they will be one of the smaller schools in the league, but the Lions are using that underdog mentality as motivation.
I think they're ready for that type of mentality. I mean, these guys have worked extremely hard. It's a veteran group, and they're very excited to get going on this season and see what we can accomplish.
We're ready to prove ourselves as Bremen being a small team out there. We're just ready to get at it.
Lions get a giant test in week 1 when they play host to Plymouth. 7 p.m. kickoff on the 21st for that one.
Going from Tigers to Lions, high school football practices continue around the area. 92-year-old Don Bungie still gets out to help out those Bremen Lions. Coach Bob Holmes knows this year is going to be a challenge. Marion, Riley, Washington, and other NIC teams. The Lions open up with 4A's number 2 ranked team Plymouth. Maybe the best schedule the boys from Bremen have ever had.
A lot of returning players from last year. We're really excited about having 8 guys on both sides of the ball returning. It's a great starting point when you have all your linebackers and DBs back that played last year. And so we're very advanced for 2 days, I'd say, this year, because we kind of picked up where we left off.
All of us are excited, us seniors especially. It's our last rah-rah, and playing new teams, there's nothing better than playing for Bremen out here. It's just different being a Bremen football player because all the tradition that's behind it, and being able to put that Bremen jersey on is just, it's a great feeling knowing that you can go out and do that every day.